Chair shots to the head are largely and thankfully gone from mainstream wrestling these days. In January of 2010, the WWE amended its talent wellness program to eliminate the use of chairs and other props to strike an opponent in the head. The WWE was already on this route for the previous year or two, but yeah, chair shots to the head were to be officially banned, and anyone who intentionally done the act would be fined or suspended. While it's absolutely a good thing that these kind of chair shots have been outlawed in WWE, some people got really up in arms about the whole thing. Just look at this Bleacher Report article. Horrible grammar and all. I didn't edit this, by the way. A simple Google search of WWE Chair Shot Ban will bring you to this article. We all know that WWE has gone PG. We all know the state of wrestling has changed. But this is just outrageous. Wrestling has almost never been about wrestling. It was about how much punishment one wrestler could stand. If they ban chair shots, then what's next, Mr. McMahon? What else can your greedy little mind come up with? What king coward wrestlers is your company going to attract? We all know nearly none of your main eventers are technical wrestlers. They are all brawlers. You can shove John Cena down my throat, make me think The Undertaker is actually dead, make me think Rey Mysterio can beat Luke Gallows, but you've crossed the line this time. You might as well spit in the face of Steve Austin. Does the Attitude Era mean nothing to you? I hate you, Mr. McMahon. Fuck me, and Bleacher Report are supposed to be reputable? Anyway, people got up in arms, like this guy here at Bleacher Report, because admittedly, the chair shot to the head was a cool visual. There's also a lot of fans out there who really couldn't care less about a wrestler's well-being, still even to this day. Not going to lie about it, the chair shot to the head looked brutal, and it was used so many times to kickstart feuds, begin a heel run, and during matches that had no disqualifications. It became a staple in wrestling. It became expected. As kids or teenagers, seeing the chair shot to the head made us pop. But as we grow up and look back at some of these chair shots, knowing what we know now in terms of the serious health issues that strikes to the head can cause, yeah, it can be difficult to watch. If you need the prime example, look no further than The Rock vs Mankind at the 1999 Royal Rumble. This is the kind of match you will never see in the WWE again. So let's start by looking at how this feud came to be between The Rock and Mankind. It all started at the Survivor Series in 1998. The WWF Championship was up for grabs in a tournament that would last throughout the entire night. The Rock walked into the show having just turned babyface, and he was the favourite to win the tournament and pick up his first ever title reign. Mankind was also in the tournament, and it appeared that Vince McMahon himself had handpicked Foley to win the title, even giving him an easy first round win against Dwayne Gill. Mankind made it all the way to the finals, and so did The Rock. It all seemed like Vince McMahon had some sort of plan up his sleeve to rob The Rock of the WWF Championship, but when Rocky put the sharpshooter on Mankind, Vince ordered for the bell. The match was over, Mankind got screwed, and The Rock became champion, turning heel in the process and aligning himself with Vince McMahon. The corporate champion beat down Mankind after the match, and all we could do was feel sympathy for poor Mick Foley. Personally speaking, I thought this was a great heel turn. Just when we all thought The Rock was going to become the next big babyface of the company, a giant swerve was pulled off that actually worked really well. Mankind would try to get some revenge at the next pay-per-view, Rock Bottom. This match at Rock Bottom is kinda overshadowed by the I Quit match that happened at the Royal Rumble in '99, but this match here is very entertaining. The Rock was on point throughout, and the McMahons are complete bastard heels throughout the whole match that makes for some great viewing. Vince and Shane would make the showdown difficult for Mankind, from changing the rules to attacking him. The match ended when The Rock passed out to the mandible claw, and it seemed that Mick Foley had won the title. Vince, however, grabbed the mic and said that because The Rock didn't submit, he would remain the champion. Robbed of the title once again, Mankind shoved Mr. Socko down Vince's throat before the corporation came to the ring to take out Foley. Garnering all this sympathy for Mankind paid off, as Mick Foley was able to finally beat The Rock on the January 4th, 1999 episode of Raw for the WWF Championship. This particular night deserves to be spoken about more in depth, something I will get around to doing, but all we need to know here is Mankind won the WWF Championship and stuck it to Vince McMahon, along with some help of course. When we see this moment replayed on network shows and on DVDs and the like, we sometimes forget the road Mick Foley travelled to get to this title win. Creative done a great job from the Survivor Series right up until this night on Raw. We all really wanted to see poor Mick Foley finally get what he earned. As stated, we will look into this whole night in a different video, but now the table was set for the Royal Rumble 1999 I Quit match. Foley was walking in as champion, and The Rock was hell-bent on becoming the corporate champion once again. It was Mick Foley, in storyline, who decided upon the I Quit match. The 1999 Royal Rumble took place on January 24th, and like all pay-per-views of this era, there was an episode of Sunday Night Heat before the show. During Heat, Mick Foley was involved in a short backstage segment where he said he will make The Rock say the words, "I quit, I quit, I quit." Remember this, it's important later. Mick Foley's family were in attendance for the show. As revealed in Mick's second book, Foley is Good, the Foley family were to play a part in the end of the match, but due to the head of the USA Network recently defending WWE programming during a panel at the Television Critics Association Winter Press Tour, yeah, that's a mouthful, it was decided that it was best not to involve the Foley kids during the match. Foley said in the book that the plan was for him to say "I quit" after seeing his children get upset at ringside. This, of course, did not happen, but still, Mick's wife and children were in the arena to see The Rock vs Mankind at the Royal Rumble. So The Rock and Mankind made their way to the ring for the I Quit match. The match started off hot, not much wrestling here, but a lot of brawling. When The Rock had the mic pointed at him, he would be his usual funny self, still talking in third person while taking a beating. As the match progressed though, the humour would die off. Even without the infamous finish, the match was still quite brutal. Rock and Mankind fought in the ring, around the ring and in the crowd before making their way to the entranceway. After a ladder was introduced, Mick Foley found himself falling into the arena's technical area, resulting in the lights getting turned off in the arena for a little while. Mankind still wouldn't quit. Even Shane McMahon tried to reason with The Rock, but the punishment continued. The match found its way back in the ring, and this is when The Rock put handcuffs on Mankind. A bloody Mick Foley tried to fight back, but in the end, it didn't help. According to Mick Foley, before the match, it was agreed that Mick would take 5 chair shots while he was handcuffed, all to the head. By the 5th chair shot, Mankind was supposed to be at the entranceway, ready for the big finish. Remember earlier when Mankind said he would make The Rock say "I quit, I quit, I quit" during Sunday Night Heat? Well, the match would end when Rock puts the microphone to Mick's mouth and the audio from the Sunday Night Heat promo would play in the arena, making us all think that Mick said "I quit" on the live mic. This part of the match happened, the audio was indeed played, and we all thought Mick said "I quit." However, it didn't happen after the agreed 5 chair shots to the head. It happened after 11 chair shots. Mick Foley said on the Steve Austin podcast, "That first chair shot came and it hurt me down to my toes. I realised this was a whole new level of pain, and my reaction to that shot was to fire up. I became that character in the worst possible scenario." There was absolutely no way for Mankind to protect himself during these chair shots, and even if he wasn't handcuffed, he wouldn't have put his hands up anyway. It wasn't really Mick's thing to protect himself from punishment. The first 5 chair shots were bad enough, but yeah, Rock stopped after chair shot 5 and Mick was still in the ring. Mick rolls out, but the chair shots continue. At one point you can see how bad things are as Mick Foley tries to offer his back to The Rock, but The Rock waits it out to hit Foley on the head once again. It's tough to watch. After 11 unprotected chair shots to the head, the match ended when the Sunday Night Heat audio played in the arena. Remember also, the Foley family were sitting at ringside. A camera crew were filming a documentary named Beyond the Mat, and they had full access to the whole arena. The I Quit match became a huge part of the documentary. With their cameras rolling, we can see a young Noelle Foley in hysterics during the match, and Mick's wife makes the call to leave their seats to spare the kids having to see their dad take this beating in the ring. Backstage, Mick Foley consoles his daughter by saying it's just a small boo-boo. Mick goes to get stitched up and says, "I hope everyone feels they got their money's worth out there." Watching the match on its own is harrowing, but watching the backstage footage captured for Beyond the Mat makes the whole thing much more difficult. The Rock and Mankind had a falling out over the match. Mick was upset that Rock didn't come to see him after the match to check if he was okay, but The Rock has since said that he apparently did come to see Mick Foley, but Mick just couldn't remember. None of this footage was caught on the cameras though, so it can't be proven. Foley also said that Rock didn't apologise for the extra chair shots, and he was pissed off that Rock hit him on the head when Foley offered his back. The two, of course, sorted out their differences in the months that followed. I'm not going to lie, the I Quit match is dramatic as hell and makes for some captivating viewing, but it does offer a prime example of why unprotected chair shots should be banned in wrestling.